Race 15, which is the Hambleden Pairs Challenge Cup. Race 14 has been postponed.
Leander, when I see you are both straight and ready, I will start you like this. Attention. Go. Get ready, please.
At the start of the Hambleden, and Laidlaw and S. Vikkelsoe from Denmark, AG Campbell-Orde and S.M.A. Heath.
Go!
Conditions are ideal today. Not so much wind. It allows the smaller boats that obviously they're steering with their feet, stay on a nice straight line.
Yeah, lovely start there from both crews. Little steering correction from the Leander crew, but moving back onto their station.
It's going to be an interesting matchup. You've got the two Danish athletes that have come out of that women's 8 that won a silver at the recent World Cup. Then the two Leander athletes that were third at GB Trials. So, yeah, could be a close one, but no form guide.
So in the Danish crew, in the bow seat is Nicolina. She went to university at USC in the United States of America and is half Scottish. Sophie and Nicolina were both in the historic Women's 8 for Denmark, as you mentioned, Mark, that won silver at World Cup 2 in Poznan, and they were the bow pair in that. And they doubled up at that event in the pair where they came 9th. So they're both members of that historic Women's 8 silver medal for Denmark. Now matched here stroke for stroke with the crew from Leander Club.
Yeah, both crews have started to settle into their rhythm or their base pace, and there's not much between them. So it'll be interesting to see which crew maximizes their boat speed and doesn't slow down by maybe a few technical errors that may creep in as we move up the track. There's not much in it right now.
So the Hambleden is the open women's pair event. Great to see the Danish women here. We saw a great row from the women's 4 earlier this morning to take the win, and now the Danish women's pair really matched here, like stroke for stroke rather, with the crew from Leander, who are just moving over towards the boom. So they're just going to have to be careful with their steering here, not where you want to find yourself.
And it'd be interesting to see how the Leander crew, uses that home field advantage or home water advantage. Train on this stretch of the river day in, day out throughout the winter, as the summer as we come into the regatta. So, I'm sure there'll be different people at different points, giving them some encouragement.
And just an update on that race 14 that was postponed. So there was some boat damage. As we see, the crews have paddled back up to the finish line. So that was Rowing Australia and Leander A. So some kind of boat damage. Both got up to the start but have rowed down the course, and the race will now take place at 12:25 local time. So for those tuning in to watch that race 14 in the Town Challenge Cup between Leander A and Rowing Australia, that will now take place at 12:25 local time.
Meaning that lunch will be delayed.
Not sure about that, Mark. Delaying lunch, and there's just some of the issues that we have here at Henley Royal Regatta.
Or whoever's commentating, well, if their lunch is delayed. Which I think it's Tim next, so yeah.
And all the technical crew are just as upset as the stewards. No,
everybody behind the scenes is going to be having lunch late today.
by 5 minutes. What an inconvenience. But we move back now to this race on the course. Arguably to more important matters, perhaps, depending on who you're asking. But the Hambleden Pairs Challenge Cup. It is the crew from Denmark on the right-hand side of your screen, who are in the Barks Station Leander Club. in the buck station on the left-hand side of your screen and still locked stroke for stroke. I mean, we haven't been able to split them all the way down the course.
No,
this is going to come down to the last few hundred metres, one would think.
Yeah, and there's a bit more. You see the winds just picking up on the course there. Just a bit more like kind of pop along the water. You know, how will the crews deal with that? But yeah, there's not much in them. And obviously, if you're the crew, you know, Henley's a unique place. If you're behind but you're in contact and you're being towed along, I always waffle on about this, I know, but it's just, it just makes the race go so quickly, and then you take your opportunity in moment, then you can pounce on someone, especially in a small boat, because you can change speed quickly. But the Danish crew just edging ever so close to the booms there.
Really don't want to come on unstuck rather on those booms. These boats are extremely difficult to balance. You've got one oar each, so it's important that the pressures are even through the stroke so that the boat is running straight and true.
Wow.
The athletes do have a steering foot generally in the stroke seat, so they're able to move their right foot, the steering foot, which is connected to wires with a small rudder at the stern, which is how they maneuver the boat. But a little push here from Leander, it looks, to maybe just get an edge over the Danish crew.
That's a really interesting move there. You know, the Danish crew had a little bit of adjustment with steering, and obviously putting the rudder on will slow the boat down. Leander, I don't know if they saw that, capitalised on it, and they've just squeezed out, taking the advantage. But as we can see, there's still not a lot in it between these two crews. But yeah, the balance between them is, you know, the challenge, isn't it, in a small boat, especially in a sweet boat.
Campbell-Orde Heath have now taken the lead over Laidlaw and Vikkelsoe.
Great shot there of the crew from Leander. Annie Campbell-Orde in the bow seat, Sophia Heath in the stroke seat, 25 years of age. And Sophia was a Windermere Cup winner in 2022, fourth at the Under-23 World Championships in the Women's 8 in 2018, and third at the Under-23 European Championships in the Women's 8 in 2017. She's rowing with her pairs partner Annie, and they're very proud of everything they've achieved this season.
Just seems to be a bit more spring in the way they're moving, that Leander pair. They've just upped the ante a little bit there. Just starting to move out or move away from that Danish crew. Impressive move there before they hit the enclosures, take the advantage.
So we get a shot there across the bow of the crew from Leander.
And you rode many pairs, haven't you, Sarah? So the importance of that bow seat, just can you bring that to life? Because I've never sat in the bow seat of a pair, so.
I've also never sat in the bow seat of a pair, interestingly, but I can talk to the importance of having a good bow man or woman. For many years I rode in the pair, and Kim Brennan was or Kim Crow, before that was my pair partner, so obviously an exceptional bow woman that I had. But it's really important that your power is matched up through the stroke. So for me, in the stroke seat, I was very front-end driven, front-end loaded, which is what you want in the stroke seat. Kimmy had a really nice rounded curve and very strong through the back end of the stroke. So it was a great way to be able to row the pair, because the bow person, we'll give a little biomechanics lesson here, because their rigger is closer towards the bow, they have more leverage of the bow. So if you had someone with a front-end loaded, a big spring off the foot stretcher with that leverage, it would mean they would pull the boat around every stroke. So you need someone who's really dynamic in the stroke seat off the front of the stretcher, front half of the stroke, someone who holds it through really nicely in the bow seat. And so this Leander crew just sprinting down to the line, and perhaps their bow's moving around a little more than you'd expect, but that's what you're ideally looking for. Straight and true run on the boat, well-matched powers in the pair is critically important for that boat to go fast. As they cross the line there, it is Leander Club about 3 lengths clear of the crew from Denmark. And that was the Hambleden, and we saw the crew from Leander, Campbell-Orde and Heath defeating the crew from Denmark, Laidlaw and Vikkelsoe.